My beloved child, the person who once left you is gradually realizing that you were never an ordinary presence in their life. Some things can be understood only after they have been lost. When silence finally gives a person enough space to recognize the value they once overlooked. While you were beside them, they became so accustomed to your loyalty, patience, and quiet support that they assumed these qualities could easily be found in anyone. They did not understand that a heart capable of loving with perseverance, forgiving without pretending, and giving without calculating is a rare gift. Only after the emptiness appeared did they begin to see that what had once stood before them was never commonplace, and that what they did not merely end a relationship, it wounded something sincere that should have been treasured. I know you once wondered whether you were too sensitive, too demanding, or simply not good enough to be loved properly. You replayed old conversations, remembered every cold glance, every sudden change in their behavior, and every moment when you had to explain away actions that caused you pain. You searched for fault within yourself because you believed that if you could discover where you had failed, you might repair everything. But my child, not every departure happens because you were not enough. Some people lose something precious, not because it lacks value, but because they lack the maturity to recognize, preserve, and respond to it with the same sincerity. When they lied, betrayed, or used silence to hurt you, they acted against the goodness that love was meant to produce. They saw your gentleness and mistook it for weakness. They received your loyalty and treated it as something guaranteed. They knew you were always willing to listen, so they assumed you would endure forever. Each time you forgave, they began to believe that every boundary could be crossed without consequence. But kindness is not permission for others to wound you. Patience does not mean you must remain where your dignity is being eroded. Genuine love never requires one person to continually become smaller so that the other may remain comfortable. I saw the tears you hid and the nights you stayed awake, trying to understand how someone you loved could treat you that way. I know you tried to preserve the relationship with everything you possessed, even when most of the responsibility seemed to rest upon your shoulders. You explained, waited, forgave, and hoped that one day they would understand. But a relationship cannot be rescued through the effort of one person alone. You can open the door to change, but you cannot walk their portion of the road. You can speak truth gently, but you cannot force a proud heart to listen. You can offer another opportunity, but you cannot turn their promises into action if they are unwilling to grow. Now distance has revealed what familiarity once concealed. Without your presence to soothe every tension, without your patience to repair every disagreement, and without your hand quietly holding everything together, they are beginning to feel the weight of the loss. Perhaps they once believed you would quickly be replaced, that someone else could offer the same feeling you brought into their life. But time is teaching them that every person loves differently and that sincerity cannot be found everywhere. They may meet many people, yet they will not easily encounter another heart that saw their unfinished parts and still chose to respond with compassion. Even so, I do not reveal this so that you may rejoice in their regret. Your healing must not depend upon how deeply they hurt, whether they admit their wrongdoing, or whether they desire to return. If you wait for them to recognize your worth before believing you are valuable, you are still giving the authority to define you to the person who caused you pain. I want you to step out of that dependence, whether they understand completely or not. The truth remains unchanged. You deserve honesty, respect, and consistency. Your value existed before they entered, remained intact when they left, and does not require their remorse in order to become whole. One day, they may try to contact you, bring up old memories, or say the things you once longed to hear. When that happens, do not let temporary emotion make you forget everything you have learned. An apology may be a good beginning, but it is not yet evidence of transformation. Genuine remorse must be accompanied by responsibility, transparency, and new behavior sustained over time. Someone who truly recognizes the harm they caused will not pressure you to forgive immediately, use their sadness to make you feel guilty, or demand access to their former place through a few emotional words. They will respect the boundaries you establish and understand that broken trust must be rebuilt patiently. You must also distinguish between forgiveness and returning. Forgiveness releases your heart from resentment so that the past no longer governs the present. Returning is another decision entirely and must be considered with discernment. You can release anger and still choose distance. You can desire their growth without reopening the door that once allowed pain into your life. You can acknowledge the good memories without using them to deny repeated harm. One beautiful memory does not make destructive behavior harmless, and a long history does not require you to continue a relationship that has lost its safety. My child, I want you to stop viewing your kindness as the reason you were hurt. You did not deserve unfair treatment because you loved deeply. The problem was not your ability to give, but that you continued giving for too long to someone who did not know how to preserve what they received. Do not become cold toward the whole world because one person misused your gift. What you need is not a closed heart, but the wisdom to give trust gradually. Let actions confirm words. Observe how a person responds to responsibility, disagreement, and moments when they do not receive what they want. Sincere affection is not beautiful only during favorable days. It knows how to preserve respect when both people are hurting. What happened did not diminish your worth, but it taught you about boundaries. You are learning that not everyone you love has the right to access every part of your life. The privilege of closeness must be accompanied by respect. Trust must be cared for through consistency. Private things should be shared with those who have proven they will not use them as weapons when angry. This is not hardness, it is wisdom gained through tears. I do not want you to forget the lesson merely because you miss them. Longing may remind you of the beautiful moments, but wisdom reminds you of the whole story. If the person from your past is now feeling the weight of their decisions, allow that to become a journey they must face themselves. You do not need to return in order to make their regret easier to bear. You are not required to become the place they seek simply because other connections failed to offer what they once received from you. If they change, that transformation must come from genuine awareness, not loneliness or the fear of losing control. You are no longer responsible for rescuing them from the consequences of their choices. Sometimes consequence is the very teacher a person needs in order to understand the value of loyalty they once treated carelessly. I do not want you to spend the coming days imagining what they are thinking, how they are living, or whether they compare others with you. Those questions do not build your future. Return your attention to yourself. Care for the parts that became exhausted, and recover the dreams you set aside because so much of your energy went into preserving that relationship. Perhaps you abandoned an interest, reduced a goal, or withdrew from sincere people in order to avoid making them insecure. Now is the time to reclaim your space, not through revenge, but by living more fully. My beloved child, what is being unlocked in this season is not punishment for the person from your past, but freedom for you. You are being led out of the need for their recognition, out of the question of why you were not enough, and out of the cycle of searching for explanations for behavior that had already become clear. You are not irreplaceable because no one else has value. You are impossible to duplicate because the way you love, think, and remain present is unique. Yet this does not mean everyone possesses the capacity to preserve you in their life. Some people recognize value only after losing it. And your lesson is not to return so that they can appreciate you too late, but to never again participate in diminishing yourself. Move forward with a clean heart and awakened eyes. Do not hope that they suffer as you suffered. Pray instead that you become free enough for that pain to stop determining your future. Do not wish for their return merely to prove your worth. Let the way you rise, rebuild, and care for yourself become the strongest declaration. The person who once treated you as ordinary may now be realizing that they lost a gift. But what matters more is that you are also recognizing the worth you once gave them permission to deny. I am returning you to peace, dignity, and the strength that has always existed within you. Preserve them, because the new season does not need someone still looking backward, waiting for another person's regret. It needs you moving forward steadily, knowing that you deserve a love that does not force you to question your value. You have won a victory deeper than what your eyes can presently see, because what has just been broken is not connected only to money or outward circumstances, but to a cycle that quietly limited your life for many years. I want you to understand that some victories do not immediately appear through numbers, announcements, or dramatic change. They begin in hidden places, when you no longer react through former fear. Stop surrendering authority to beliefs rooted in lack, and refuse to let one failure become the conclusion of your entire future. Every time you chose to rise, instead of remaining in despair, one link in the chain weakened. Every time you continued trusting before circumstances changed, part of the invisible bond was removed. Now, what once held you within the same limitations can no longer control you as it did before. I saw every time you moved forward, when inwardly you had almost no strength left. I know there were days when you still fulfilled responsibilities, treated others kindly, and tried to preserve integrity even though no one recognized the battle occurring within. I heard the prayers spoken so quietly, the sighs you believed carried too little meaning to be heard, and the questions you were afraid to share with anyone. Not one tear disappeared without purpose. Not one sincere act of giving was treated as loss. What you believed fell into emptiness was actually contributing to the endurance, depth, and wisdom required for the transition now unfolding. There were times when you wondered why you had to endure for so long, while others seemed to advance more easily. You watched doors open for them and questioned whether your portion had been forgotten. But my beloved child, I never lost sight of you among the crowd. The difficult years were not evidence that I was distant. They were the place where I taught you not to let scarcity define you. I wanted you to know how to preserve abundance when it came rather than panic, how to manage rather than waste, and how to use it for good instead of attempting to compensate for wounds you had never faced. I was not only preparing what would arrive, I was preparing you so that you would not lose yourself when it appeared. The movement now approaching you will not create more chaos. It will become a gentle confirmation that I remained present throughout the seasons when you believed you were alone. Certain things will begin connecting in ways that help you look back and understand that every delay had a role. A meeting that seems accidental may give you necessary information. An offer may appear at exactly the right time and open a direction you had never considered. An obstacle that stood before you for a long time may suddenly be removed without requiring you to keep fighting in the same way. When these things happen, do not immediately assume they are too good to belong to you. Remember that you passed through a long process to arrive here, because you became accustomed to hardship. Your mind may distrust anything that arrives gently. When an opportunity does not require pursuit, you may wonder whether it can be trusted. When someone treats you sincerely without demanding that you prove your worth, you may fear that something hidden lies beneath their kindness. When a matter is resolved quickly, you may wait for another problem to appear and steal your joy. I understand why you respond this way, because the past trained you to prepare for the worst. But the vigilance that once helped you survive must not become a wall preventing you from receiving the new season. You need to learn that not everything easy is a trap. Some lightness appears because you have stopped moving against what fits. Some doors open quickly because the season of preparation has been completed. Some people are willing to help not because they want to control you, but because they genuinely recognize your value and desire to build with you. Discernment is still necessary, but constant suspicion can make you reject even healthy gifts. Observe consistency, preserve necessary boundaries, and listen for peace. But do not use painful former experiences as the only standard by which you judge everything new. I am removing from your path the resistance that is no longer needed. Certain things once required months or years because you had to move forward while also fighting self-doubt, fear of failure, and the need for approval. Now that these chains have weakened, you will notice that you can make decisions more quickly, say no more clearly, and enter opportunities without enduring a long battle within yourself. What once demanded excessive energy will become simpler, not because you are taking a shortcut, but because you no longer carry the burdens that made every step so heavy. Do not confuse alignment with laziness or random luck. Alignment appears when your thoughts, choices, and direction no longer work against the person I am forming within you. In the past, you may have tried to preserve relationships that repeatedly drained your peace. You pursued doors because you feared no other opportunity would come. You also tried to please everyone until your own needs were always placed last. These things created resistance, forcing you to complete the work before you while fighting exhaustion within. When you live according to truth, know what to preserve, and release what must end, your energy is no longer scattered. Therefore, if things that were once difficult begin moving more quickly, do not feel guilty. You do not need to keep suffering in order to prove that you deserve goodness. Your worth does not increase according to your exhaustion. I do not require you to climb over every wall when the proper door has already opened. Some seasons taught you how to fight and build strength. But there are also seasons in which you must learn how to receive. If you know only how to defend and not how to welcome, you will turn every blessing into another battle. I am teaching you to lower your hands from a defensive posture and open them in gratitude. What is coming will also test the way you see yourself. When a fitting opportunity arrives, naturally, the former version of you may say that you are not capable enough when support is offered before you ask. Fear may make you believe that you owe something or must make a sacrifice in return. But remember that sincere help does not diminish your worth. You can receive while preserving dignity, collaborate without losing your voice, and remain grateful without placing another person in the position of determining your future. I am the source of your value. The people who arrive are simply parts placed into your journey at the proper time. Remain alert, but do not close yourself. Examine, but do not allow fear to turn everything into a threat. What is right will carry clarity, respect, and a peace deeper than outward brilliance. It will not force you to betray the principles that helped you mature, nor will it require you to become smaller in order to fit another person's expectations. Right doors may require learning, disciplina, and the courage to leave what is familiar. But they will not demand that you lose the genuine person I have refined over many years. I also want you to prepare for a change in the pace of life. When resistance is removed, several things may happen closer together than you expected. One opportunity may lead to a meeting. That meeting may open a collaboration, and the collaboration may create a new resource. Do not panic when the pace increases. Preserve key moments. Continue listening, and do not allow busyness to steal your foundation. What arrives gently must still be managed with discipline. I do not want merely to lead you into expansion. I want you to preserve peace, humility, and discernment as everything begins to grow. Therefore, my beloved child, do not reject what I send merely because it does not carry the familiar feeling of hardship. The past persuaded you that everything valuable must be won through pain. But this is not the truth for your entire life. Some gifts arrive after a long process and therefore seem sudden when they finally appear. Some doors open easily because you spent years becoming mature enough to enter them. The ease of today may be the result of yesterday's perseverance. Receive the new season without carrying the belief that you must continue suffering before you deserve goodness. You have learned enough from difficult roads, and now I am teaching you how to walk upon a clearer path. Your victory does not exist only in what you will receive, but also in the fact that the former cycle can no longer hold you. You are no longer governed by lack, no longer compelled to force every outcome, and no longer need to exhaust yourself to prove faithfulness. Continue with discernment, because what is moving toward you is not a mistake. It is evidence that you have entered alignment. And when you stop resisting the right road, what belongs to you will begin finding you through greater peace, order, and ease. I am telling you that the waiting season has completed its work, and now you are being called to leave, delay, and move through trust. There was a time when you needed to pause, not because you had been forgotten, but because certain things within had to be arranged before you could travel farther. You needed to learn the difference between what you desired and what truly suited you, mature through disappointment, and release patterns that caused you continually to question your worth. Those months may have passed so slowly that you believed nothing was changing. Yet beneath the quietness, I was making your foundations strong. Every time you remained patient a little longer, every time you refused to return to something unhealthy, and every time you chose peace instead of acting through desperation, you moved closer to today. Now, I do not want you to continue using the words, "I am not ready," as shelter from what frightens you. There is a time when waiting is wise. But there is also a time when further waiting becomes fear, delaying what you have already been prepared to do. The first step does not need to be perfect, nor does it need to solve the entire future at once. You need only know that it is leading you in the right direction. I do not require you to see the whole road before beginning, because some guidance appears only after you lift your feet from the former place. Some doors become clear only when you approach them, and some answers arrive while you are already acting. I will guide you as you move, but you must be willing to leave familiar safety and place the first step down courageously. Do not assume that every form of resistance means you should turn back. Some difficulties are genuine warnings, but other obstacles appear merely because you are leaving a pattern that held you for too long. When you begin living with greater discipline, former habits will try to draw you back. When you start protecting your time, people who became accustomed to your constant availability may become displeased. When you pursue a meaningful goal, thoughts of failure may grow louder. This does not necessarily mean you are moving wrongly. Sometimes it simply reveals that you are entering territory where fear no longer possesses authority. Observe wisely, but do not quit merely because the road demands more effort than expected. There will always be distractions trying to make you forget why you began. It may be one comment causing you to question your ability, one small failure making you want to reject the whole process, or the sight of someone moving more quickly making you believe you will never catch up. You need to keep your eyes upon the responsibility entrusted to you instead of continually turning to measure another person's journey. What lies ahead deserves the focus it requires. If you allow every voice into your mind, you will no longer possess enough quietness to hear what truly matters. Choose carefully what you receive. Reduce what nourishes confusion, and give time to what increases clarity. Focus does not mean never becoming tired. It means that even after weariness, you still know where you need to return. You are not late merely because your road differs from the one beside you. Some people begin early, but must later stop and rebuild their foundation. Some advance quickly in one season, while you are led more slowly in order to avoid mistakes they have not yet encountered. Do not look at another person's speed and conclude that something is wrong with your timing. I do not create every journey according to the same rhythm. The lessons you need to learn, the responsibilities you will carry, and the people you will affect require a unique process. Comparison causes you to stare too long at what does not belong to you and overlook the signs already before you. You do not need to live anyone else's life in order to prove that yours has value. Remain on your road. Protect what has been entrusted, and believe that every faithful step continues bringing you closer to what fits. What has truly been prepared for you cannot be taken merely because someone else arrived first or appeared more impressive. The right opportunity will meet you when ability, timing, and preparation come together. This does not mean you can remain inactive. It means you do not need to compete, manipulate, or live in panic that someone will steal your portion. Your responsibility is to develop your ability, complete your work, expand your understanding, and move when the door appears. I will not give you something great and then require you to preserve it through desperation. What is right will demand effort, but it will not force you to betray dignity. It will challenge you to mature, but it will not turn you into a stranger to the values that supported you throughout the journey. Therefore, stop allowing endless noise to make you forget yourself. You have spent too much time looking at the lives of others, scrolling through achievements, perfected images, and stories showing only a small part of the truth. Afterward, you looked at your own life and felt lacking, even though I had placed before you what needed care. I want you to return to the present. Look at what you can do today and give your full attention to the next step. What changes your life is often not one exciting moment, but small choices made consistently, beginning the work you postponed, sending the necessary proposal, learning what you lack, ending the habit draining you, or speaking the truth you have avoided for too long. You are being redirected away from places that no longer support growth and repositioned near environments better suited to the person you are becoming. This repositioning may feel unstable for a time because the old is leaving before the new has formed completely. Do not fear the empty space between seasons. You are not wandering without direction. You are leaving a place that became too narrow in order to enter one that is wider. Some relationships will naturally grow distant. Priorities will change, and things that once excited you may lose their attraction. This is not always evidence that you have lost direction. Sometimes it proves that your inner vision has changed and that you can no longer live according to the values of the former version of yourself. Even while everything remains unclear, you are still being guided. Guidance does not always arrive through a complete map. Often, it provides only enough light for today's step. You may not know what the coming year will hold, but you know what needs to be done now. You may not understand every reason one door closed, but you can recognize that peace disappears whenever you try to force it open. You may not know who will remain for the long journey, but you have learned to recognize respect, consistency, and healthy intentions. Use what you already know instead of delaying every action until no uncertainty remains. Maturity does not mean never feeling fear. It means no longer allowing fear to decide for you.